At least I think I am. Hopefully. I don't know. We'll see if this works. But I saw Tenet over the weekend, the new Christopher Nolan movie. So get ready for the spoiler-free review. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
It was really weird doing it this way because I can't hear. I can't hear what's happening. Hopefully I didn't mess up. But first off, to answer the question that everybody asked me after I told them that, I went to see the movie. Before they even asked me how the movie is, everybody was like, all right, how was it like going back to the movie theater? What was it like? Are there zombies there? What the hell's happening? What was the experience like? So basically, the place was mostly empty, so it was honestly, I felt very comfortable. They did a whole bunch of stuff there to make sure that your distance, and since in Mexico, I don't know how it's over here, but in Mexico you reserve your seats, so it's very easy. They just tell you, okay, these seats you have to leave them empty. You can't pick any of those. So honestly, I felt pretty comfortable. The only issue that I really had is that the shorts before the movie are now even longer. The previews are even longer. It used to be like 15 minutes. Now it's like 20 minutes because they show you a 5-minute video of all the stuff that they're doing to clean up and to make sure that you're safe. And it's one of those things where you're just sitting there and you're like, I'm already here. I mean, it's nice. I like that you clean your faucets every day, but I'm already here. I already decided to come here. Well, why are you telling me all this stuff? I mean, I guess it makes me feel better in a way, but I'm already here. So I found that amusing. It bugged me that I had to sit there for way longer. Maybe it's because I went to see the movie late, but I don't know. But the point is, it seemed fine. It seemed safe and whatever, and I enjoyed the experience. It's good to go back and do something normal again. But I don't know if you care about that, but I'm answering because most of the people who asked me about the movie wanted to know about that. So there you go. So before we get into the review, let me just give you a quick reminder that any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram and at Super Dario World. I'm also trying to live stream pretty much every day. You can follow that live stream on Twitch at Super Dario World and on YouTube at Super Dario World. Subscribe there, like all that stuff. Share the video if you want. I really appreciate it. It helps me out. So there you go. Let's get into the review of the movie. So I prefer that one better. Yeah, there you go. So Tenet is, for those of you who don't know, is Christopher Nolan's newest film. For those of you who don't know who Christopher Nolan is, he's the director of the Dark Knight trilogy. He also directed Inception. He directed Interstellar. He is probably one of, or if not the best working director right now, at least, for popular movies. Not the fruity tooty movies, but the popular movies, the ones that make money, the ones that are actually fun to watch. Those movies. And this is Christopher Nolan's James Bond, pretty much. It has a sci-fi kind of fantasy twist. I guess it depends how you want to look at it, but this is Christopher Nolan's James Bond. And Christopher Nolan has a habit of making something in his own way. Like he grabs the genre and he does something different with it. Like, for example, The Dark Knight is a superhero movie, but it's a completely different superhero movie to all the other ones. Inception is a heist movie, but it's completely different to all the other ones. He grabs something that already works, and he turns it in his head and makes it his own. So it's fun to watch. So this is what would have happened. Not would have happened. It's Christopher Nolan's version of a James Bond movie. Overall, the movie is extremely well made, and I mean extremely, extremely well made. It's going a mile a second. It's super fast. It's somewhat confusing, but I'm guessing it's the purpose of it, and it makes no fucking sense whatsoever, and I mean none. Now, this is my big issue with things that have to do with time travel, is that doesn't make any sense, and there's whole massive plot holes and all that stuff, and this is an issue with the movie. However, it doesn't really matter, because there's one line early on in the movie when they kind of try to explain the sciencey stuff, because I always say Christopher Nolan's movies, they grab a very complicated science subject, he dumps it down, and it's like, all right, just accept this, and this is what we're going with, and just accept it, and you'll have fun. So there's a line in this movie, literally, where a character says, don't think about it, just accept it. And you're like, oh, okay, that's a message to the audience. So that's the whole time I was sitting there. It's like, all right, I'm gonna try to understand this concept, and I'm gonna make sense of it. And then they said that, and it's like, all right, okay, just accept it. Fine. That's it. They're literally straight up saying that, and the message to the audience there is an implied third part to that message. So the first part is don't think about it. Second part is just go with it. And the third part that they don't say, it's implied, but they don't say it, is going to be cool as fuck. So you're really going to enjoy this ride. If you accept that, you're really going to enjoy this ride. If you don't accept it, you're in for a rough time. You're in for a massive headache, and even still, you're going to have a massive headache. And I also find it funny because the movie itself calls it out. It's very confusing. Like, the speed of the dialogue in this movie is insane. And I'm talking on par with The Social Network on how fast they're talking. Everybody is just, and I'm a fast talker. I live with fast talkers. We talk a mile a minute. Like I said, this movie's a mile a second. It's very confusing. 1 minute they're in one country, then in another one country, then they're looking for other people. It's just they keep going and going and going, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? It's very confusing, but it's fun and enjoyable to watch, and the action sequences are so well made that it's very clean. I had an issue with the one at the end, but I won't spoil that one. Like the big climax one, I had a bit of an issue with it. But overall, I still was impressed. It's an impressive feat, making this movie, because I can't explain it without spoiling stuff. So let's just say when you're seeing it with let's say a cinematic eye, you're like, how the hell did they do this? Or like, how did they plan this? Because they had to plan stuff in very interesting ways. Now I'm planning on seeing the movie again, because the first time I just saw it and enjoyed it. But there's a bunch of stuff that let's just say that there's seeds throughout the movie that later resolve, and you're like, oh, did they hint at this? Oh, was that there? So I'm going to go back to see it. But overall, yeah, very enjoyable film. Action, extremely. Is it the best action he's ever done? Maybe. It's extremely fast-paced. And I mean extremely fast-paced. It's I want to say clean, because it feels very real. There you go. By clean, I mean like realistic feeling. Like, this is how these people would actually be doing it. It's easy for you to follow the action, except kind of at the climax scene, but there's kind of a purpose to it, or there's a reason for it. But overall, I really enjoy it. The one knock I have on this movie is the main character is not the most interesting character in the movie. Again, I guess you could make the argument that it's kind of the point of it, but like I said, I can't explain it too much. But however, I will make this point. The main actor, John David Washington, he is the weakest actor in this movie. He doesn't do a terrible job. In fact, I'd say he has good moments. Honestly, the action scenes, it's really good. It's really impressive. There's a hallway scene that I found particularly impressive. He does a good job on all that stuff. He has his moments where he's funny, moments where he's a badass. But overall, he was the weakest actor in the film, and that's honestly not a knock on him. It's more praise to the other actors. Like Robert Pattinson, his character is extremely interesting, and I mean extremely interesting. There you go. That's the one I was looking for. Extremely interesting. He's fun to watch. His performance is great. The main female character here, Elizabeth Debicki, she's also fascinating to watch. Her character has a lot of depth. So it's honestly, it's not a knock on him. The dude's not that experienced. Like at this point, Elizabeth Debicki, she's had like a pretty successful career. She's been on major films, and most of the films that she's been on, she's managed to steal the show. Like I remember what was the movie? The Gatsby with Leonardo DiCaprio, The Great Gatsby. She's the one that's actually the most interesting female character. So she's a scene stealer, and in this one it's very similar. I mean her role is it's not her most interesting character, but she's a fantastic actress. Robert Pattinson, he's very good. He's become very selective with his roles, and he's picked really good ones, and I mean really good ones. And here, I mean, also there's this whole thing that Christopher Nolan always inserts a British character in his movies, and that British character is super cool. Here, that British character is Robert Pattinson. So again, not a knock on John David Washington, but it is a weak spot on the movie that the main character, you're like, okay, this is fun. However, I would like to see more of that. I would like to see more of what the other characters are doing because they just seem like they're a lot more interesting. Again, there's a reason for it, and once you watch the movie, it kind of makes a little bit more sense. But while you're sitting through it, you're like, all right, okay. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. However, also another knock on this is, like I said, this is Christopher Nolan's James Bond. You can't help but feel that this movie would have been better with Daniel Craig in it. Like, if Daniel Craig would have been the main character in this movie would have been bonkers better. And I mean it because dude's a great actor, and that's the dude who I see as James Bond, and this is the type of James Bond that it is. It's not the old. I mean, they have a bunch of gadgets and the suits and all that stuff, the classic James Bond stuff. But this is the spy assassin badass type of James Bond, and that's kind of how you see it. Also, I mean, there's something about, again, this movie very clearly tells you, don't think about it and just accept it. And there's the thing about John David Washington, a black man, being a spy in the Ukraine. Now, I had to double check. I have a friend who's from the Ukraine, and I asked her, hey, would a black person stand out in the Ukraine? And she just looked at me like I just asked her the stupidest question in the world. Like, huh? Of course. What are you talking about? Yes, there's not that many out there. It's the Ukraine. We're white. And so sending a dude to be a spy out there, I mean, I would assume that you would pick somebody who would blend in. But again, the movie very clearly tells you this. Just don't think about it. Just accept it, and it'll be cool. It'll be cool. So it's fine. Like I said, it has it has a lot of those things where you want to think about it a little bit, but if you just accept it, it'll be fine. I very much enjoyed it. It was good to be back to the movies, honestly, and it was definitely worth being the movie that I went back to the movies too. It was fun. It kept me at the edge of my seats. I was confused 90% of the time. I'm excited for the potential of maybe there being a sequel. Maybe not. You'll never know. Maybe. You'll never know. I'm not going to say it. But I'm also not going to deny it. The characters, most of them are likable. Most of them the entire time. The villain, I left a little bit to be desired of, honestly. The performance really good, but I don't know. I guess I didn't find him that scary, hateable, sure, but scary, I don't know. It left a little bit to be desired of. The plot overall, or the big plan, the big evil plan, it was one of those things where I didn't find it that scary, or because it didn't make any sense to me. But again, the movie's very confusing. It's very, very confusing, but you're not supposed to think about it, which is, again, if you're just going to sit back and enjoy the action, all right, cool. You'll be at the edge of your seat. You'll have fun, and you'll be very confused, but you'll enjoy what you're seeing. Visually, you'll be very impressed by all the action and stuff. The stunt people in this movie, the choreography of this film is insane. I'm talking insane. Like, I really want to see the making of this movie just to see how the hell they did some of those fight scenes, because to me they seem bonkers. So overall, do I recommend it? Yes, definitely. Is it Christopher Nolan's best film? No, I don't think so. It's really good for an action film. Like I said, this is James Bond. It's an action film, but it's not his best film. It left a little bit to be desired of. Mainly, I expected a little bit more logic from his plot. That was just it. Honestly, I expected more of that. And so, yeah, I believe that's fair. Overall, what would I give it? Like an 8 something. Yeah, an 8. No, but 8's fair. I believe an 8's fair. Because loses 1 point for logic, and loses another point for just because, again, it's a cop out. Honestly, it's a big cop out just to be like, hey, just don't think about it. Like, hey, shh, don't think about it. It'll be cool. It'll be cool if you don't think about it, because Most people think about it. Most people like to understand what they're watching. And like I said, it just goes by too fast and you're very confused. And half the time your head hurts. Like my head hurts right now trying to think of what I can actually tell you of the movie that won't be a spoiler. And how can I explain stuff without actually having to explain stuff that honestly I'm not 100% sure I understand. So there you go. Hopefully that helped you out. If you were on the fence of going to watch it or not, hopefully that helped you out. Like I said, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I was happy I watched it. And overall, I'm planning on watching it again. So there you go. That's it for today. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram and at Super Dario World. Also, live streaming, aiming for live stream every day on Twitch and on YouTube at Super Dario World. Subscribe there, like, all that stuff. Really helps me out. As always,